Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Shatin Sawati is here and welcome to Biosciences with Shatin Sawati. Today I'm here with my new lecture and that lecture is about the most important organelle of the cell, that is the chloroplast. As you can see here in the figure, the plant cell, and you people are familiar with that. The plant cell contain the chloroplast, that is the most important plastid, that is the most important organelle of the cell, and that is the site of photosynthesis, which contain the green pigment which is known as chlorophyll, and many other accessory pigments which are known as carotenoids. So here in this lecture I will discuss in detail about the chloroplast. But before starting my lecture, I have a very humble request to all of you. If you did not subscribe my channel, kindly subscribe my channel, like my videos, share my videos. If you are sharing my videos, my lectures, you are sharing the knowledge. So keep watching, keep sharing knowledge with other. Okay, now chloroplast. As you can see here, the beautiful structure of the chloroplast, and this chloroplast contains coin-like structure which are stacked upon one another. I will discuss in detail about all these things. So in this lecture, I will discuss the discovery, then evolution, then the structure, and then function of the chloroplast. So first of all, I will show you what is basically the chloroplast is. Chloroplast is an organelle, which is the most important type of the plastids. You people are familiar with the plastids. Plastids present in the plant, and these plastids are of three types: chloroplast, leucoplast, and chromoplast. In this lecture, I am discussing about the chloroplast, but I will give you some information about the leucoplast and the chromoplast. Leucoplasts are colorless plastids which are present in the colorless part of the plant like roots, and the chromoplast are other than green pigment containing organelle which is present in the colored part of the plant like in fruits and many other parts. So here chloroplast, which is the most important organelle of the plant cell, which is the site for the photosynthesis. This chloroplast contains the most important pigment, that is the chlorophyll, and chlorophyll basically present in these structures which are known as grana. So this chloroplast is the site for photosynthesis, and during photosynthesis food is synthesized and oxygen as a byproduct. As we are familiar that the plant are the source of the food, because plants are autotroph, because they contain chlorophyll in the chloroplast. So that's why they not only synthesize the food for the whole kingdom, but also play a very important role in producing the oxygen. This is clear about the chloroplast. Now, this is the introduction and the definition of the chloroplast. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about the discovery. The first definitive description of the chloroplast, chlorophyllcornine. You can pronounce it. This is very difficult to pronounce. Chlorophyllcornine means the grains of the chlorophyll. First, it was named as grain of chlorophyll, was given by the Hugo. Hugo named it grains of chlorophyll in 1837. Later on, another scientist, Andres France, gave the name chloroplastids. What? Chloroplastids. First grain of chlorophyll, then chloroplastids by the Andres. And later on in 1884, Edward Strasburger adopted the term chloroplast. Now it is known as chloroplast or chloroplastin. Is it clear? This is the little about the discovery of the organelle. Okay, now evolution. How the chloroplast evolved, originated. like mitochondria. I have discussed little bit about the endosymbiosis, endosymbiotic theory. That endosymbiotic theory actually describe the origin or evolution of the chloroplast as well as mitochondria. So what will happen? In case of the mitochondria, as you can see here, this is the endosymbiosis theory. This is the ancestor cell. You can see this is the ancestor cell, and that ancestor cell, what will happen with the passage of time? The membrane enfolded, and that in membrane enfolded and produces the what? Nucleus. With the passage of time, what will happen? This ancestor cell then engulfed the mitochondria, aerobic bacteria and cyanobacteria. What will happen? First enfolding of the membrane, then what will happen? Next step, the ancestral prokaryotic cell engulf what? Aerobic bacteria and cyanobacteria. Aerobic bacteria, you know that aerobic bacteria, we use the oxygen. And cyanobacteria, green bacteria, photosynthetic bacteria. Now what will happen? With the passage of time, this aerobic bacteria converted into mitochondria, and this cyanobacteria become the chloroplast. So this is the endosymbiosis theory for the development or for the evolution of the mitochondria as well as the chloroplast. So this origin of the chloroplast was first suggested by the Russian biologist Konstantin. Then later on in 1905, Andres Franz observed in 1883 that chloroplasts closely resemble cyanobacteria. Is it clear? I have discussed little bit about the endosymbiosis in my lecture about the mitochondria. So here I am giving you the overview of that endosymbiosis theory. Okay, now the concept is clear about the endosymbiosis and evolution of the mitochondria as well as a chloroplast. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about the structure. This is very important. If you want to understand the function of any organelle of the cell or any part of the body or anything else, you must know the structure of that organelle, that part. So here I'm going to discuss about the structure of the chloroplast. Structure of the chloroplast, like you observed in case of the mitochondria. Mitochondria is also the double membrane organelle, and this chloroplast is the double membrane organelle consisting of comprising of inner and the outer lipid bilayer, and inside this there is a stroma, which is the colorless alkaline aqueous protein rich fluid, and inside that stroma there is a grana, and grana means grana plural, and granum is singular. That is the site for the photosynthesis, and that grana contains coin-like disc-like structures which are known as thylakoid. So I'm going to show you each and every part of the chloroplast. This is the outermost envelope of that chloroplast. That chloroplast envelope, this is the double membrane. Is it clear? Outer membrane and inner membrane. And inside the inner membrane, you can see the liquid is filled. That is known as the stroma. This liquid is stroma. And inside the stroma, you can see here the stacked of are coin-like structure which stacked upon each other, disc-like structure, and produces the grana. And these granas are, you can see here, interconnected with each other. These are the grana 1, 2, 3, which consist of the stacked of coin of, or you can say they're disc-like thylakoids. These disc-like rounded structures are thylakoid which stacked upon each other and produces the grana. And these granas are interconnected by the lamella. This is also known as intergrana or lamella. Is it clear? Now you can see here the inner membrane, outer membrane, and between the inner and outer membrane there is intermembrane space, and inside the inner membrane there is a stroma. Inside the stroma there is a grana, and each grana consists of the disc-like structure which are known as thylakoid. And the most important thing about the chloroplast, like the mitochondria, there is presence of the DNA. In case of the mitochondria, there is DNA. Also in case of the chloroplast, chloroplast has its own DNA like the mitochondria. So, like mitochondria, chloroplast is the self-replicating organelle. It can make its own copy because this is very important organelle of the plant. So it also contains, beside that DNA, ribosomes too. In this stroma, you can see here the ribosomes. And these ribosomes are 70S ribosomes. Like eukaryotic ribosomes are 80S, and the prokaryotic ribosomes are 70S, like the prokaryotic are, because scientists believe that the ribosomes in the chloroplast and mitochondria are 70S, so that's why they believed that the chloroplast and mitochondria are produced or originated as a result of the endosymbiosis. Okay, the presence of the DNA, the presence of the ribosomes, and because of these two important part, the chloroplast is the self-replicating organelle like the mitochondria. Is it clear to you people? Now the thylakoid is clear. Interlamella, lamella or intergrana is clear. Granum or grana is clear. Stroma, each and everything is now clear upon you here. Now I'm going to discuss about the thylakoid membrane. That is the most important part of the, each and every part of the chloroplast is very important. Like you will see that the stroma is very important for photosynthesis, for the completion of the, like thylakoid. So I'm starting from the thylakoid membrane. Thylakoid membranes of the chloroplast is an internal system of the interconnected membrane. As you can see here, these thylakoids, which are coin-like structure, which are coin-like or disc-like structures. These are thylakoids. So, of interconnected membrane that carry out the light reaction of photosynthesis. They are arranged into stacked and unstacked regions. Now, I am showing you the stacked regions. These thylakoids, these disc-like structures, you can see here, stacked upon one another. And the lamella, which is the intergrana, present between the two grana, interconnected. Two granas are interconnected. So this interconnected, this lamella, this intergrana is known as the unstacked grana. The other name used for the lamella is unstacked grana and intergrana and lamella. Okay. They are arranged into stacked and unstacked regions called grana and stroma thylakoids. This is also known as stroma thylakoid respectively, that are differentially enriched in photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. Are you familiar with the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2? If you are not familiar, I will deliver the lecture upon photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 in my upcoming lecture, inshallah. Okay. Photosystem 1 and photosystem 2 make the photosynthetic machinery or the photosynthetic complex. Okay. Now I'm going to discuss about the chemical composition of these chloroplast membrane or thylakoid membranes. The thylakoid membranes of the higher plants are composed primarily of the phospholipids and galactolipids that are asymmetrically arranged along and across the membrane. The thylakoid membranes are richer in galactolipids rather than phospholipids. Must keep it in your mind. This is very important. Like in other organelles and plant cell and animal cell membrane, they are phospholipids rich. But in this case, galactolipids. Like in case of the mitochondria, you see the most important thing is the cardiolipine. Here, the most important lipid is the galactolipid. Grana thylakoids and stroma thylakoids can be distinguished by their different protein composition. Stroma thylakoid and grana both have different protein composition. The thylakoid formation required the action of the most important protein, vesicle, must keep it in your mind, vesicle including vesicle inducing proteins, the vesicle inducing proteins in plastids. They are known as VIP. Vesicle, I for inducing, P for protein in plastids. Is it clear? A plant cannot survive without this protein and reduce VIPP level lead to slower growth and paler plant with reduced ability to photosynthesize. So VPP appears to be required for basic thylakoid membrane formation. Is it clear to you? Must keep it in your mind. This is the most important protein, which is known as vesicle inducing proteins in plastid. Okay. Now here you can see the different types of the proteins in the thylakoid membrane. This is the thylakoid in which the photosynthesis. Thylakoid is the part of the grana. So this is the membrane of the thylakoid, and inside the thylakoid, this is the lumen of that thylakoid. This is the lumen. This is the outside stroma, and in stroma you know that the thylakoid grana are present, and grana contain thylakoid, and this thylakoid membrane is rich of protein, and you can see here the phospholipids. Mostly galactolipids are present here. So this is also the phospholipid membrane, and you can see here the different arrangement of the protein which are integral as well as peripheral proteins. And I have given you information about all these proteins. There are 335 different proteins. Thylakoid proteinome consists of about 335. So you can see here different types of the protein. This is the stroma, this is the thylakoid membrane, and this is inside of the thylakoid. Okay, you can see here the plastocyanin, all these proteins, plastocyanin, which help in photosynthesis. Important electron acceptor. I will show you in case of photosynthesis, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. I will discuss later on. So there is a you can see here photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. You can see here the ferredoxine and oxygen reducing complex and ATP synthase, which is also known as F particle, which I have discussed in detail about the structure of the ATP synthase, which help in ATP synthesis. Plastocyanin, this is very important. Electron acceptor. This is also the protein. So plastocyanin, plastokinin, cytochromes B6 and F. All these are NADP reductase, paradoxine. So you can see here the different types of the proteins which are integral as well as peripheral. Some are present inside the lumen, some are present in the outside of the in the stroma side. This is the stroma side, this is the lumen side. So these are the embedded proteins. And all these proteins act like carrier, act like pumps, act like channels, and perform different function. Now you people are familiar with all these because I have discussed all these proteins in case of the cell membrane, in case of the mitochondria, and now I'm discussing in the thylakoid membrane. Is it clear? Okay. Now I'm going to discuss about the function of the. If the concept is clear about the structure and the thylakoid membranes and their chemical composition, this is easily understandable for the function of that organelle. Now the function of the chloroplast is very important. As we know that the photosynthesis occur in the chloroplast because the chloroplast contain the chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is present in the granum. Chlorophyll is present in the granum. And in the stroma, there is no chlorophyll. In stroma, chlorophyll is not present. The chlorophyll is also just found in granum, thylakoid membranes. So this green portion that which is because of the chlorophyll, present in the granum, and that is the site for the light reaction. Mechanism of photosynthesis consists of the two part, light reaction and dark reaction. So the light reaction of the photosynthesis, this is the most important function of the chloroplast, which I will discuss later on. So this granum, which contains the chlorophyll, green pigment, is the site for light reaction, because this granum contains the chlorophyll and the accessory pigment carotenoids. So here light reaction occur, and in the stroma, as we know that there is no chlorophyll, dark reaction, like you can say light independent reaction, which is also known as Calvin cycle, occur in the stroma. And NADPH and ATP, which is synthesized here in the granum, in the thylakoid by the light reaction, this ATP and NADPH move towards the stroma for the Calvin cycle or light independent reaction. And Calvin cycle is what? That is the fixation of the carbon. And this light reaction is the photolysis or breakdown of the water. So I will discuss in detail in my next lecture about the mechanism of the photosynthesis. So here I'm just showing you which site is for the light reaction and which site is for the dark reaction. So stroma is the site where the dark reaction or Calvin cycle or light independent reaction occur. And the granum is the site for the light dependent reaction, which is known as light reaction. Is it clear? Okay. So this is you can see here the thylakoid membrane, and in thylakoid membrane you can see this is the ATP synthase, which help in the ATP formation. And you can see here the photosystem 1, which I will discuss it later on, and photosystem 2. You can see here different types of the proteins like cytochrome B, cytochrome F. You can see here the plastocyanine. Now the concept is clear about the arrangement of the proteins and phospholipids in the thylakoid membrane. And you can see here the similarity between the mitochondrial and cell membrane and chloroplast membrane. So there are similarities, but the arrangement of the proteins and enzymes is different. Arrangement and also the type of the proteins, like you can see here the plastocyanine and plastocunine, which is not present in the mitochondrial membrane. In mitochondria, there are different types of the protein. I have discussed in detail, so must watch my lecture about the mitochondria if you want to understand the clear concept of the mitochondrial membrane and the thylakoid membrane. Is it clear? So I will discuss all these things later on in my next lecture about the light reaction, about the dark reaction. So here I'm giving you just the overview and just showing the structure of the chloroplast and then the thylakoid membrane. Is it clear to you people? You can see here the different arrangement of the proteins, which some act like the pump, some act like the transport or carrier proteins. So this is the overall structure of the thylakoid membrane. Okay ji, thank you very much. If you have any question, write in the comment box, and I will be back tomorrow with a new lecture. Till then, Allah Hafiz.